What's up, y'all? Welcome to the SANDCAST podcast with Brandie Wilkerson and
Humana-Paredes.
That's
How
true.
are we going to work the ref right now? Are you going to yell at him?
No,
And
I love
some of
hearing
them have
it.
like the most pleasant conversations,
Yeah.
and I'm like, you little manipulator.
Yeah.
You're manipulative.
I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think they probably heard too many F-bombs. They had to cut it down a
That's
bit.
for
Probably,
sure me.
that's
Yeah.
Which it's so funny when I'm commentating and that happens.
Yeah.
You're muffs, kids.
Yeah.
But at the
I
same
always
time, I'm
hear
like,
the
I love
commentators
it
being
when
like,
that happens.
apologies on behalf of all of the athletes. I'm like, I'm not helping. I'm F-bomb every other word.
Who's the ref talker between you guys?
This one.
Yeah.
You're the ref communicator.
But I'm like the more manipulative type than the yelling type.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
You're playing the long game.
I play the long game because I'm friends
Yeah.
with them off the court.
Right. You're trying to get the call late in the game,
Yes.
not early. Yeah.
They usually do.
They make up for
They
it.
make
Playing
up
the
for
long
it.
game right now, like sweet talking on the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys are on the board, so-
man.
It's all
Oh, yeah.
part of it,
We're
yeah.
just
I love refs.
Is
Oh,
that
we got some
for
lemon.
us?
Oh,
We have a SANDCAST waitress.
Oh my gosh,
Her name is
Naya.
waitress
wow, wow, wow.
This is... Oh, wow. Look at the
Well, that's gonna come out of your
service.
tip.
Thank you. Oh, this is so
the first on the
sweet.
pod, the lemonade
Homemade.
stand.
The lemonade.
Thank you so much.
Treat
Is this because
What
we
a
won a
treat.
medal?
straight from the SANDCAST
I get one
tree.
too.
That's farm
Thank
to
you,
table.
Naya.
Farm to table. Unbelievable.
The roots of this lemon tree go below this studio.
Oh,
So,
look
you
at
know.
that.
It's got a little...
Thank you so much.
Whoa.
Can we cheers?
Wow.
Whoa.
Just so you know.
I was in control of the honey.
I love
Okay,
it. The little
Naya.
SANDCAST
Bubbly
cheers.
cherries.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you, Naya. Thanks so much.
This would
You
be,
want to cheers with us? Yeah, come cheers.
This would be our
There we go.
champagne.
Oh, yeah.
Cheers.
Thank you so much.
There's a
Wow.
little cherry bubbly in there.
Delicious.
Wow, it tastes
Thank
like
you.
a pack of Skittles. So great.
Oh, you should see her. Her with the honey bottle. Is,
Just
Aggressive with
Oh,
the
yeah.
honey.
nothing
you
wrong
gotta
with the little
stand
honey.
over her.
Well, I was actually thinking about offering to bring champagne on the pod. I was like, 4 p.m. on
Oh,
That's so
Wednesday
sweet.
That's
seems a
amazing.
little
We'll take it.
odd.
We'll
but,
take it.
Champagne.
congratulations
Thank
on your
you.
silver medal.
Thank
Thank you.
That's awesome. Not a bad way to start the year.
I love it.
That's what we're here for.
High
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
podium, but you don't want to start too high because you need
Just
you need
that little
room to
extra
improve.
space, yeah.
Yeah,
Made it-
keep people guessing.
Yeah,
You know, we're
yeah.
not quite there yet, but we're there. You know.
Yeah.
You
Just what do you think came together in Doha that you've been working on this off season?
A lot. I mean, there's a lot of the like unsaid chemistry that teams that have been playing for a long time have. So it just felt like we weren't doing the basics anymore. And it was like, we already know what's going on. How do we just improve and how do we just do everything world class and just ride that energy? So just the overall, I think, flow of our game
Yeah.
was nailed, I think, the
Agreed.
whole off season. I guess there's a lot
I
of
mean,
skills.
I'll speak for myself. I will say, heading into Doha, I wasn't completely sure how it would go.
Yeah.
We had like a little bit of a wrench thrown in our plans for our off-season training, where we got into a little car accident.
Yeah, that happened.
And so we kind of had to take some time off of training to recover from it. So, and that happened a few weeks before Doha. So we didn't get into our like competitive groove as early as we wanted in our off-season training because we had to take some time off. So heading into Doha, we maybe had like a week of competitive training. So I remember the week before we were leaving, we were still trying to figure out our calls. Remember, we were like, what is this
yeah, well, we
mean?
changed a bunch of stuff.
We changed a bunch
Also
of our defensive
that.
calls. Yeah, and so we were like still not super comfortable with it. And even like getting to Doha, training against international teams the first couple of days, we're like, hey, we're going to try this, we're going to try this. And so we were still kind of getting to our groove. But I feel like once the tournament starts and the whistle's blowing and we're good, I think we just felt really comfortable and really natural out there together. Like, you know, things had never really stopped. So it felt good. I think we played with a lot of heart and grit because I still think there's a lot of things we can do to improve. And so I think it was just like the will to win.
Yeah.
That was big.
I'd ask if you guys are all right, but you seem okay.
We're making sure
We
we're
were-
okay.
We recovered. Yeah, we recovered.
And it was the other driver's fault.
Yes,
It was the other driver's fault.
It was.
Setting it straight.
yeah.
Definitely was.
The listeners wanted to know.
I'm a great driver.
Yeah. Brandy nailed it. Yeah.
How was I always love the first event of the year because you get like those nerves back and the adrenaline's going. I always love that feeling. What was that like for you guys? Just getting back on the court because it's so fun. Like that anticipation that like we're finally back, season's going again.
Yeah. And I feel like everyone's also like eyeing each other up because you haven't seen each other in a while, and
Yeah.
you're like, what
Yeah.
have people done in the off season? Like,
You're gonna
what?
watch footage from last year, but they
I
just
know.
worked the whole off season.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Stuff, right?
They're probably not doing this anymore.
Right.
So it's like, what is everybody doing? You know, you're kind of scouting, and everyone's like keeping their eye out on each other. So it's fun, and I think for us it was just kind of like, it doesn't really matter what everyone else is doing. We have been working on a few things, and so it's just, this is our chance to put that into practice. Like, we've been nailing down these reps, and we've been working so hard on this like past set combination, so let's just do it. Like, we have the chance to just do it, so that's what we're here to do. And it was, I think it was just really smooth on our part, like game by game. And I think for us too, having not like a super easy route to the finals, like we lost in our pool, I think that really pushed us too. That made us like reflect and really be like, okay, what the heck happened in that game, and what are we going to do now that we're heading into playoffs? Like, what are we going to change? And so kind of those like in moment adjustments, I think we did really well this time.
I have this theory that sometimes I think that first round bye into the quarterfinals of elites can actually bite you in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
And like, you never want to be
Yeah.
playing that 9th place match, but once you win it, I think teams that are coming off that win, I think they have an advantage. I'd actually like to go back and see the record.
Yeah, the stats.
Because I know that for Kelly Chang and Sarah Hughes, like that was one of their biggest struggles, was that you just wait around all day.
Yeah.
You just have to think
Yeah.
about playing.
Yeah.
And then you guys have come in like, anything that could have went wrong in the first match, you've already shored up. You cleaned it
Totally.
up. You've already played. You're in a rhythm. And then you guys have your first win over Anna, Patricia, and Duda. That had to have been fun.
I'm frick yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that needed to happen. And it was good to have it at the first tournament just to
Yeah.
set the tone for the rest of the year. But it was just a solid win. I wouldn't say we were like playing perfection or anything like that. But it did feel like, personally to me, the game where it represented all of the work we did in the off season the most, where Melissa and I were just on a level together. The communication was there. The plays, we felt good. And we felt like they played well as well. Like, they had some ridiculous hits and we had some ridiculous plays. They made some unclutch errors. Like, it was pretty even. So, I mean, with the score being tight, obviously, but to have a clean 2-set, like no drama, just play the game and like see who wins kind of a win over a world-class team. That was definitely like more of a gold moment for me, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was funny, we did a podcast actually right before we left to Doha, and they asked us who was the team that I think we have like a big rivalry against,
Right.
or
If
who's
we
the
had to
team that we
pick a
want
rivalry or something,
And it was
yeah.
them, because they're the only team that we haven't beaten.
Yeah.
And so to kind of head into that tournament and then be matched up with them again in the quarterfinals, which happens so often, where in our quarterfinal game, we'll have this like electric team. We're like, all right, okay, here we go. We got to break the quarterfinal curse and go into the semifinals. And here we have to do that against Anna, Patricia, and Duda. Okay. All right. And so we kind of went in with like a little bit of, I think, like gusto, and like we really wanted that. And I think, what Brandie said was perfect. I think we just exceeded solid, consistent ball.
Yeah.
And you were bombing balls.
I
told
know,
you-
right? I
told
literally
you
just said that at practice today. I'm like, remember that time where you were annihilating those balls in the game? I guess to just
I just
watch.
had
Can you do that
sweet
every time?
sense.
Yeah.
Why don't you
Can
do
we
that
run that back?
more?
No, I'm kidding. No, but it was amazing. It was
It's
amazing
true.
to watch. I'm just sitting there front row seats, just like, hit it wherever you want.
I had buttery sets.
Oh,
though,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
why.
Well.
They were just beautiful. Yeah.
No, you're
Yeah,
killing
'cause
it.
I remember when because I commentated that match with Simon. I texted you after that I thought that was the best match I'd seen you play, and you were hitting these angles, and I was like, damn.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. No, there were
Yeah,
moments.
we've already decided that nice smell's gone this year.
Yes, yes.
Love that.
That is the theme of the year for me, for sure. This new Mel that's coming out. No, but there are definitely moments in there I was like, okay, like this is what I've been working on. Let's have this be more consistent. It's nice to kind of have a little bit more repertoire to my game, to be able to hit the dinky shots and then also bring in a little bit of heat, so that you just don't know what I'm going to do. You know?
We love that.
Every game's a little different.
The new Mel.
Yeah.
As if
Don't
nice
make me
Mel can
angry.
I was gonna say you've been a little angry since I've seen you today. I was just like, whoa, Mel.
Just coming in hot.
Yeah, she wasn't laughing at all.
Yeah,
Just came in real hot.
She's
today.
not going to smile in like 2 months.
When you look back on it, I mean, what's the bigger moment, the medal or beating Anna, Patricia, and Duda?
I'd still say the medal. Like,
Yeah.
I think beating these teams is great. Like, but getting a medal is hard.
Very.
Very hard. So it still wasn't the medal we want. Everyone wants the gold, but for me, it's the medal still.
Yeah.
There's something in your hand there when you leave.
Yeah, for sure. I think it was the opportunity to fight for the medal. So that quarterfinal win, I think, was huge on a number of levels, like beating Anna, Patricia, Duda, and then breaking it into the semifinals again, and then having the shot to win, and then playing the team that we lost to in our pool
That was also
in
nice.
the semis was huge too, because we were going into that pissed. So it was.
You looked straight at me like I was livid.
But yeah, I mean, the medal is it's always great to walk away from a tournament with
sure.
a medal.
Yeah,
There's something
especially
about-
so
So hard.
Something
these
about
days.
walking away with something.
Yeah.
That's just nice, for sure.
Totally.
But it sounds like that win was the most gratifying part of getting that medal, right?
Yeah.
That was kind of like the breakthrough moment.
I think it's funny because when you think about, people always say you learn most from your losses. You don't really learn a lot from wins. That win, we learned a lot from. And so I think it's a really great example of looking at games with a different lens, but like looking at games that even that you win, you can take so much from those too. And so I
Yeah.
think we learned so much from that win that led us to the medal. So
Right.
and beyond. Like I think that was just like a lead up of so much stuff that happened in the off season to lead to that win, to lead to the medal. So it was just a
Yeah.
culmination of so much.
Yeah.
It comes down to like having the mindfulness to be like, because when you win, you just like, boom, we won. Like,
Right.
I'm done with volleyball. I'm done with everything. Everything's good. And when you lose, you reflect, right? So to like actually like calm down, be like, okay, we won, but like, what can we gain from this? To
Yeah.
have that moment, like right after, like I mean, for losses, like we all need like an hour to 10 hours to a few days to like dwell on it, right? And
Years.
we think about it.
Yeah.
Years. But wins, most of the time, at least not the veterans, that early on in your career, you're gone.
You
It's
move
over.
past.
Right.
So like to really like, it's just like a veteran move, I feel like, to
Yeah.
like sit there and like learn from wins.
For sure.
Tough to do.
It is tough. It's also weird thinking that we're vets still. I still am tripping out that we're like the older ones on tour.
I know.
What the
It
heck?
is
When did
weird.
that
I know,
happen?
right?
All these young bucks coming up.
I like being old though.
Oh, good for you. Good for you.
Old. We'll put old.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true.
I'm feeling
Still
pretty
dressed
good
like
for
a
an
child,
old
but
lady.
I'm old.
Yeah, you still got Dennis Rodman on your shirt.
Yeah.
Which,
That guy's never aged.
If this is being old, then
can I ask for the story behind that? Because you mentioned that you love
The
Dennis
worm.
Rodman.
Yeah.
And I've never seen a Dennis Rodman shirt. I've seen a jersey,
Okay.
but I love this.
I know. I saw this and I had to have it too.
Of course you got that.
Absolutely. No, I just love Dennis Rodman. Like,
yeah, he's
you can't even sum that guy up in one word. He's insane. But yeah, I just like the energy. Any kind of trailblazer or anyone doing it in their own way, in any regard, in any scope, I have mad respect for. And it's hard to be so authentically yourself. So I don't know. I
He
just want to
deserves a
keep
shirt.
that.
He
He deserves a shirt.
like a
He
Bruce Lee
deserves
shirt.
it.
It's just like
Some people.
gotta have it. You gotta rep 'em. For sure.
Well, you're kind of a trailblazer too. I mean, do you remember when you used to play rugby?
Yeah.
Quite a long way. I think you're the only
a
rugby
long
player
way.
turned beach volleyball.
Yes.
Yeah.
Olympian.
What are the stats on that?
That's for
One.
sure. Yeah.
The cross section of those two
Someone run
categories?
that?
Oh, well, I appreciate you saying that, but yeah, I try to find my own way in the sport for sure. For sure. There was a slight overcompensation starting late, and then it just became just a love for the amount of space the sport has for creativity and individuality, and I think that's why I keep coming back to it.
And I think coming late into the sport, it has its obvious disadvantages because you don't have the reps of someone who grew up playing.
Yeah.
But I think it has advantages that people don't really think about, in that it's still kind of novel in a way and exciting, and you can still learn skills. Like I think the McKibben video, when you were talking about the superpower you wanted to add, was hand setting and jump serving.
Yeah.
And now you're just like flossing everywhere and jump serving. It's like you just picked up those skills and you're already the best blocker in the world. That's crazy.
Oh, thanks. Well, I've had a lot of help and a lot of sheer willpower, but I appreciate that. Thanks.
Yeah. How was it playing behind the girl voted best blocker in the world?
Oh, it's the best. There's nothing easier than being able to have someone who knows what they're doing up there and has such like IQ and such a good read, but also like the physicality behind being able to execute what we want to do. You just trust that what needs to be taken care of is taken care of. And so that gives me so much liberation and freedom back there to be able to also read my own game and do my own thing and like know that we've got each other's back. And it's just amazing. There are so many times where I don't have to do anything. I can just have some tea back there and just watch her do her thing. And it's a treat for me. And, I think it's also like when she does her thing up there, it's such a momentum changer for the game and for our team. And I think it just like elevates the energy of the game. You know, like getting a dig is great, but then you still got to transition it, and sometimes you don't. So a block is usually always a good point.
Nothing better than an ace or a block.
Totally. Yeah.
We're not biased at all.
A clean point. No.
Right.
Yeah. No, it's a dream.
Did it? So this is year 2 for you guys. Did it take a second to adjust to learn how to play behind Brandie's block? Because Sarah's such a different blocker.
Yeah.
Obviously a world-class blocker. But Brandie is you're so unique. I think you and Tina are really the only two who block the way you do, because you're so athletic. We're just going to hang. You're like, oh, I'll have that over here. And I'll hang out with that over there too. It's just so different.
It is so different. And it did take a second. It like still takes some like getting out of old habits for sure to be able to like get into the new systems that we're trying to implement defensively. And so I mean, Sarah was incredible for so many reasons, and she was so disciplined, and she knew what she was doing, and we knew what we were doing defensively, which worked in a lot of ways. And now having a new style of game that we're playing, which is a lot more kind of free
for all. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And just so dynamic, and like we're doing so many different things and having a blast out there. And so I think it does take a minute to get out of, again, like that old mindset to get into this new mindset of what is possible and what we're doing. And yeah, I mean, I feel like every day we're learning something. You're trying new things. You're surprising me somehow still of like, oh, wow, she can do this, and we can do this. We can pull this out. We've got so many tools in our belt. So yeah, it's been such a blast.
I bet.
What are you guys' thoughts on like the fine line between playing super free? Because it's interesting.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the game in general is going to being more free.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we're working on it where stuff I used to run, I used to be very like fake here, go there, and now people are too big, and it's like just ball up pretty much every time and work from there, which I'm like, okay, that's a little different. And
What next?
But what if we know exactly what we're doing and we time everything
Yeah.
perfectly, and it's just like, but what if you just block the ball?
Yeah.
You know, there's like a fine line though. You
Yeah.
don't want to be too free, but I feel like a lot of teams are realizing like, no, you want to just like, because the more you're trying to set stuff up, the more they can see. And if, I don't know, it's kind of like if we don't know what we're doing, you don't know what we're doing.
Exactly.
Kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But like, how do you guys play with that fine line between being too free? And that's why this like instinctual thing comes down
Right.
to like feeling each other and
Yes.
knowing like, for the blocker to know what the defender's doing behind them without looking is the biggest thing. And you talked about you can be really free behind her block, but for the block to be free up there, they can't see you. They got to trust that you're going to be there when they think you're going to be there. And it's just like, it's just hard. How do you guys develop that?
Yeah, it's definitely
Wing it?
something we've considered, and thought about. When I think of either of us making a move that might be too free, it always comes from a place of like genuine, like I made a read and I went for it. And so I think we cultivate this culture of risk taking on our team. So there is a level of it's okay if it wasn't the right call. And there is a lot of verbal encouragement where it's like, if you see it, go for it. Like, go for it. We turn around and she doesn't say side as me. It's like, yeah, sure. Whatever you saw, I'm down. Like next time. Okay. And so like, and to have that come back to me too, I actually sometimes feel like I get in my own way and stay too disciplined in times where I could be free just to make sure I don't mess her up and whatever, because I just want to help, and you're just making it worse. So choosing to lean on which side you want to lean on, whether it's discipline or free, I think helps just be okay with the inevitable times it doesn't work out. And then just also there is that trust with Melissa that I've been able to enjoy so much, which is like I can stay disciplined and then just know that she's doing, and like you said, knowing what she's doing or not in this case, and just trusting she's making the right call because she has the IQ and we've talked about the plan and we've done our video and we've done our work. So it's not coming out of nowhere. That all these are very educated guesses, and then I could just know that she's doing the right thing, so I never have to think about what she's doing, and to trust that. And there's some plays where I have to give her a lot of space, and that took me getting used to being like, are you sure that's fine if I give you that much? And she's like, yeah, I'm there. And I've just watched her over and over and over again dig it, and I'm like, okay, Brandie, you can focus on something else now. So there is still a level of like a framework within that freedom. And so that's just what we've really worked on, is just identifying how big this frame is and then do whatever you want in that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's still, it's hard. You need to find a balance of like, sometimes we can get too crazy with the freedom where like after maybe a few points we're like, all right, let's rein it in a little bit. We're getting like, a little
what's
bit
our
too
reset
crazy.
play?
Let's ball up here. Let's reset. And then let's go from there again. We have to establish. It's also a little bit of a mind game. Like you want to set up these plays and you want to do it intentionally so that they don't know what you're doing next. And so it's more just like, how can we set up the next play so that they're confused and we have them in our lap, essentially. So there's like strategy behind it, and there's still strategy behind playing free. But it is fun, and it takes just like learning about each other and experience playing with each other. Like I don't think we'd be able to be doing this last year when we first started. I think it takes some time to like understand how we want to play, what kind of style we want to play, and learning about just building trust with each other. But like there are so many times where like we're tripping up, we're not reading the right call or reading the wrong play, or sometimes I'll surprise Brandie. She's like, "What are you doing here?" And like, we'll still make it work. I'll surprise her. She's like, "Let's turn around and set the ball." She's like, "I didn't think you would be there," and so it's just like so reacting in the moment.
I should get here.
Sometimes I'll see her laughing. She's like, "Oh my god!" Has to set this ball, doesn't expect it. So yeah, it's a lot of it is also improv, but I think it just comes with experience, and like that IQ comes, and like the feeling of, okay, this is what I'm seeing, this is what I'm feeling, and then just allowing each other to be able to be whoever they want up there. I think sometimes it's really easy to get into your box and like stick with the call, even though the ball is showing you something different. Deviate, you know, like what the ball is showing you, go with it. I trust you. I'm giving you permission to do that.
And you guys use the word a number of times. Is I think to do that requires a lot of trust for your partner. Because I remember if I were playing with someone new and I'm blocking angle and they hit a cut shot and the defender's there, I'm like, great dig. Why were you
there? Exactly.
You weren't supposed to be there.
Good job for this one.
Don't do it again.
Don't you ever do that again.
Yes. No, definitely.
But how long did it take you guys to develop that trust? Because that's not something that just happens in a snap.
No, definitely.
And I think you mentioned the team chemistry element coming into year 2. I think it's so valuable.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, I think
all year last year.
Definitely. Definitely.
Like maybe at the end we were kind of like, okay, we got it. But then this year we switched up a lot of stuff on defense.
So much.
Like that. And we're like, yeah, actually we have all of these new calls and we're throwing away everything we just did last year. But I think it was just so outrageous that we were like, yes. Yeah. we're doing it.
Yeah.
And we both don't know what's going on, so we can both trust each other.
From
Yeah.
zero again. No, it's funny.
No,
we
it
have
was
to
good.
attribute that to our coach who came in this year hot and heavy and was
Love
like,
that.
throw everything out last year. We're doing something new.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay.
And I've loved it.
I
so
loved it.
far.
I remember I
Yeah.
came in, I was like, I feel like we just need to have our foundations laid and then like move forward. I feel like we did that last year. And he's like, yes, but we're also doing nothing the same. And I'm like, all right, okay.
The foundation was the trust building.
Yeah.
And then the plays were different.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
So funny.
Yeah.
So is Fiapo, is he your head coach? Are you still working with Marcio?
Yeah.
Marcio.
So
Okay.
Marcio's still our head coach.
Okay.
And Fiapo is obviously working closely with him
Yeah.
and runs some of our practices. And
Okay.
just to make sure we always have a coach on the road with us, which is something that's extremely valuable for this team.
Yeah.
So now we have both of them as
We're
an
so
option.
lucky. We're so
They're
lucky.
amazing.
Yeah.
They're
They work
amazing.
so well
Brazilian
together.
family.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. I love seeing how they work together. They're so different. Their personalities
They're
are
so different. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But Marcio's still he's kind of like the big
glue,
wizard
yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
And
The wizard.
Big wizard guy.
and then Fiapo's like the dad. Like he has like dad energy, but also like
It's very calm.
so calm,
Very
but
peaceful.
also very focused and
Firm.
He's committed to this dream with us and really believes in us, and you can feel that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my, every
He
day at
only
practice, I
speaks
don't
in
want to let him down.
Facts. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we have, I think, a great system around us heading into Paris, and I just feel so grateful for who we have on our side and who believes in us too. I think that makes all the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it had to have taken so much trust in your coaching staff where they're like, hey, you're the number 4 team in the world. Forget everything we just did.
Yeah, exactly.
That had to have been hard for Marcio to be like, it worked out great. We're done with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. How was that adjustment? Like when they presented that to you guys, we were like, well, I thought we were pretty good.
Right. Yeah, I
Won a
guess.
couple tournaments.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not bad. I think
Surprisingly, that wasn't our response.
No,
but-
I think the way that it was phrased was we're gonna elevate. Like it's not like we're
I like
changing.
that.
We're
Yeah.
not like getting rid of things. We're improving. Like
Yeah.
we have our base, and this is what it is. We're just gonna start clarifying and start like focusing in, and this is what that's gonna look like.
Yeah.
And so we're adding these new things because you can, and because you've shown us you can, and
Right.
because we have the
Right.
ability to. If they didn't believe that we could, they wouldn't have done it. So
Right.
I think for us, it was like, okay, heck yeah, like let's do that. We're
Yeah.
ready to level up. I think
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
something that we wanted after last year. We're like, we feel like we're one of the top teams in the world. We've got a couple medals, but there's still so much more room for us. This is the time we have to start implementing those things. So I think for us, it was like excitement, and it was like, yes. It was also like, oh my God, we only have 6 months to do this. Let's do this now.
Yes.
We have to do this very quickly.
Yes.
Right.
And it was intense.
It was intense. Yeah. Preseason was hard. It was, yeah.
They pushed us.
They
for sure.
did. It was tough training, but I think we rose to the occasion and it came quickly. I mean, like, it was still the week before Doha. We're still trying to figure out our calls. So,
And
we-
just recover. But that was the whole thing.
yeah. But I think it's going well.
And that's a scary thing to add something on such a compressed time
Yeah.
frame.
Yeah.
And that's something that we've gone back and forth with a lot. It's like, do we try to add something right now when we're about to fly to Brazil on Sunday?
Right.
It's like, probably not.
Right.
But you guys didn't really have any dip. Like, you add all this new stuff where a lot of times where, like, when you tweak something, there's a dip before it gets better.
Right.
And only Marcio and Fiapo would have seen that dip in the preseason.
Yes, because
Yeah,
it was
the
there.
rest
It
of the world.
was there. Oh my
nobody's
gosh, the
seen
dip
that.
was there.
Yes, it's the behind the scenes.
I was like, what was it again?
yeah.
No.
Yeah. We're like, we need more practice.
Yeah, that was tough. But
But I think ultimately we are still, implementing things and working on them in competition, which is also a risk. And it's like, is
Yes.
it going to be worth the risk? Do we have the ability to still be able to implement things and still perform? And I think we proved that to ourselves last year, where we can become a new team and still figure out our systems and still perform. So yeah, I think it's just like, again, knowing what the team has and what they're able to take on and implement and execute. So sometimes it's going to work and sometimes it's not going to work.
Yeah.
But
I feel like one of the most like stimulating or like attention grabbing things is growth, like for athletes, right? So like if you don't feel like you're growing or changing, then
yeah.
things can kind of get stagnant and boring.
For
so
sure.
like even for your coaches or for you guys to raise your bar, no matter where it is, you're gonna raise it.
right.
Kind of just like locks you in more,
Yeah.
right? Especially before Olympics, like
Yeah.
you don't want to peak now,
Yeah.
right? You want to peak when it comes down to it. So to have these things you're working on even as season starts, I would imagine is a good thing. You don't want to be like, okay, we got it all together, we're perfect going into season, and then do well, and then you're like, see, we were right, we're great.
Now what?
You got that team holding you accountable, and you're just like, no, this is just where we're at, and we got a lot of growth.
I think you nailed it. That sentiment of like stagnation is terrifying I mean, for anybody in life, but like as an athlete, I mean, Brandie loves the idea. We both do, of just like growth it's like, if we're not growing, then we shouldn't be, something needs to change.
It's just you got to pick a new path, right?
Exactly.
Doing something else.
Exactly.
Right.
And so there's definitely an element too when it comes to sports. If you're getting, we went through a streak of, we would keep getting some fifths and stuff, which was like not a bad result, but it's like,
You keep doing the same thing, if anything.
Yeah. It starts to weigh on you a little bit, even though like every loss was different. Like every fifth was different. So there was always something that we could learn and grow from. So that's how it felt. Like we weren't stagnant, even though it may look like we were stagnant. We didn't feel like that because it was like, okay, this tournament was so different from this one. We did this right, but now there's something to change here. Next tournament, same thing. And so it was just like trying to reframe that and not get so bogged down on what the results are telling you. But what is the feeling of the team? What's the feeling on the court? And like, how are you using that for the next opportunity? Because it can be really scary if you don't feel like you're getting better, or if the things you're working on is just not working.
Have you ever read it's this book called The Dip by Seth Godin?
No.
And I recommend it to especially beach volleyball players. It's called The Dip, and the subtitle is The Little Book on Quitting. And basically when to decide when to quit when you're going through a dip. But you mentioned every fifth was different. And so he said it's okay when you're going through a dip, but you can feel yourself growing. And you know that eventually all those lessons are going to pave the way to go back up and get you out of the dip. And like you said, it is a scary thing because you don't know when that dip is going to end and when those lessons are going to pay off. And that's why it's so scary to go through this preseason thing when you're adding a bunch of new stuff and it's frustrating and it's scary. You're like, maybe it'll be ready for Doha. Maybe it'll be ready for Tepic. Hopefully it'll be ready for Paris. But how'd you navigate like just the mental, for me it was always like super anxiety if I ever like tweaked something in my golf swing or shot in basketball where you know you're going to get worse and you're like, I don't know if it'll be good in 2 weeks. It's hard. How'd you guys go about that?
I think our coaches did a really good job resetting the tone of like the longevity of our goal. So the pressure to have it be perfect right now was never really there. If anything, we were the ones putting the pressure just because we are, athletes and want to perform right away. But they kept the perspective really well before every game, after practices, all the time, being like, remember what our goal is, remember what this is. Like, so I think that helped just as a team. And individually, for me, I think this is like what is worth playing for is to really put yourself out there and try something new and see how you respond to those moments, good, bad, ugly, whatever the case is. So like the results and stuff become a little less distracting when you're just so fascinated with like, I feel so uncomfortable. Like, how am I going to react in this situation? Like, this is going to be crazy. Like, we don't have a lot of opportunities in our day-to-day life to really test ourselves. And beyond sport, I don't know when that's going to show up, and hopefully I'll find it. But this is what we have right now. So I want to like soak up every moment of it. So I think that is the other flip side of growth, is also being really comfortable with that uncertainty and that unknown, and really like wanting it and craving the unknown just to see how much more you can unlock.
As you were saying that, I was like, man, you're like a female Michael Gervais.
That's quite
Oh,
He will be so
Gervais.
thank you.
How's that been? He's like such a homie. I love that guy. Like anytime we get to spend with him, I'm just like writing down everything he just said.
He's a wealth.
That was perfect. Golden
100%.
nugget. Another one.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He is a wealth of knowledge. It definitely, when we first started working with him, I had serious imposter syndrome where I was like, I am not good enough to be here
Me
in
too.
your presence.
Like, you're on my podcast? The podcast guys?
Totally. And he's so not like intimidating. He's such a gentle human and very warm and welcoming. And like from day one was just like, I'm here for you. And I still had a hard time getting over like he has worked with big people and for big things where I'm struggling putting an inflated ball over a net and I'm here trying to help him and he's dealing with people who are risking their lives sometimes. So it was a trip for me to like get over that and like see him as someone who's like fully there for me and wants me to utilize him and like bring my best self to him and my worst self to him.
Right.
So it's still a work in progress sometimes where he has to like remind me to just like be my whole authentic self around him. And I think going through some of the conversations we've had as a team with him and individually with him has been so helpful for me to kind of get back to who I am and who I want to be and what I want to get out of this journey. It's very kind of like big picture. We're not talking about like necessarily the semantics of the court and some of the things. We're definitely going deeper, and I think it's been so helpful for both of us. What? No. Now you have to say it.
Oh, just a good joke. I'm just not going to share it.
No, I don't want to expose you.
Was it little Melisita?
No, you're like, I don't want to fucking talk about my job.
Yeah. No, sometimes
We'll like walk over. So we have some team therapy sessions, but sometimes we'll be walking in and she's like, I don't want to talk about my childhood today.
I don't want to go back there.
I don't want to go there today. And I'm like, we're going to do it.
We're doing it. Yeah, exactly. We were talking about being
Like,
okay.
like I just want to hit this ball. I don't want to talk about my
Yeah. I was 7 years old. Yeah.
No, you were exhausted at one point.
Yeah,
That was great.
one
That was
day.
really great.
I mean, it is work.
It's a lot.
It is serious work.
Yeah, it's
and
heavy.
I'm so grateful for it.
Yeah.
To do it together is pretty gnarly too. I've never even imagined basically doing therapy with your teammate.
Yeah.
Right.
That's insane because I
Like
was
couples
more on
therapy.
the like, this is a business partnership. Like, of course I'm going to like and respect you, but like this is a business endeavor and I wouldn't think of finding something and then going to therapy with them. But it helped us so much, especially for me in terms of understanding communication styles. Which is crucial for building that trust. If you can't even really say what's on your mind or talk about something hard, how can you really trust each other? And so that was fun. And just like, I learned things about myself. Like, he'd call me out and be like, you're this person. And I'm like, what? And then I'll sit down for like 2 days with it. And I'm like, shit, he was right. I am that kind of a person.
Like, that's the exact opposite
I was like,
of the
actually,
person
I'm
that-
not. Yeah. Remember
He called us out day one.
the first 30 seconds of meeting us.
Yeah, and he like completely flipped around what I thought I was for the last 31 years
Oh,
of my life.
same. Yeah. So basically, we're sitting at this diner with him just as a casual meetup, just be like, hey, like, let's all say hi. And then we're talking, whatever. And like, before I even get 2 sentences in, that's how quickly it happened. He was like, oh, so looks at Mel. So you're the extroverted one on the team and you're the introverted one. And then we're like, what? And Mel's like, oh, no, like I stay at home and this
Brandie
girl's
is
out and
social
about, like
butterfly.
always doing things. And he's like, no, that's not how it works. And we were like, we have no clue what you're talking about. And then from that day, we were like, oh my God. I'm like, I am so introverted. I didn't even know that at all. And you were extremely extroverted. And so the little things like that where we're like, oh, that will help us like learn more
It's
about
like,
each other.
Every time I listen to Finding Mastery podcast, I'm always like, in the car, like, I'm like, I wonder what he'd say about me. Like, I'm like, I wonder if I want him to do me in these. Like, I wonder what my thing
Just like
would be.
read your palm. Tell me about me.
Tell me about me. Yeah. I feel like I'd be very wrong. About just everything in general.
Yeah, and the thing is like you change as well over
for
time.
sure.
Like
Oh,
who you
big
think
time.
you were in university versus now, two different people, and it's okay. Like I think that was something I learned too. Is like it's okay for me to change. Like, and it's okay for me to be okay with changing.
It's great to change, right?
Oh, of course.
Like,
I think
it's
I just
almost like
heard
if you don't
something
wanna-
where like the most successful people are people with the most flexible personalities, like the adaptability that comes
Right.
behind it. So I
There
guess
you
it
go.
is okay to change.
There you go.
Darwinism. Is that?
Oh, that would make sense.
Look at
Science guy.
encyclopedia over there. Darwin said something about adapting. And
Evolution.
The ones best fit to survive are the ones who are best at adapting.
Look at this guy
There
with
you
a
go.
full
Something like
quotation.
that.
That makes total sense.
See, that's usually my job to do that.
Look at that. You can't. You're not the same person.
Everyone thought I was the.
You're all
What
wrong.
do you call it? The book guy.
Yep.
But he was the book guy.
Yeah.
You're all
Really?
wrong.
Just wait till Gervais gets a hold of it. Let's set it
You've
straight.
always been the book guy.
I'm the genius. I'm a genius.
But I love that though, that you were like you almost have to change.
Yeah.
Like me and Delaney always joke about it. Like if I had met Delaney in college, she'd have wanted nothing to do with me. And I'll have so many moments where like I think back to stuff I did in college and I'm like, ooh, like that's like
Yeah.
cringy. But I'm like,
Well, we
I think
knew
that's
each other.
good.
I
don't wanna
Being
tell
cringe at your
Delaney about
past
that
self.
one.
I think that means that you're growing.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's been the coolest thing about being together through this journey is that we did know each other in college.
Yeah.
So we have seen each other grow from like
Yeah.
That's true.
We did see that.
It's kind of trippy to think like, I mean, long-term partnerships, marriages, even more so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thinking how much you do change from university to beginning rookie as a pro to middle to now we're all old pros, right? But you have to change with the people,
Yeah.
right? With the partners. That's kind of trippy in itself.
Yeah,
It
for
is.
sure.
Like that's a constant work in progress. And like we were talking about, you have to be good at change and adaptability. Because whatever worked back then, and I feel like everything I do, I test it against what worked in the past, which is probably pretty logical. But then it's like, well, dude, here's what me and Hayden used to do, blah, 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 blah. It's like, man, that was a long time ago. With a
played
completely
out, bro.
different dude, and you're a completely different dude.
Yeah. And the game's
So,
completely
like,
different.
And the game's completely
Right.
different. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the game's
So it's like,
changed.
I don't know. You got to change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to be
Got to
adaptable.
adapt.
You mentioned the game's changed, and on it's more visually obvious how the men's side is changing with the suites going nuts
Totally.
and the jump setting and the shoot setting and all this stuff. But how have you seen the women's game change?
I think from Tokyo, just like 3 years ago, you see a huge change in it where it has become a lot more dynamic and maybe not on such a grand scale as you see on the guys. But it is coming. Like you do see that.
It's coming for sure.
Coming for sure. And just the speed of the game, the precision of the game is intense. Like we mentioned it before where like people are so precise with their shots. They're hitting every inch of the line, the outside of the line. And it's like, okay, well, you got to give it to them. Like you just have to be ready for anything. And now you just see it's not just line and cross blocks anymore, right? Like everyone, it's a different game out there where if you're not aware as an attacker, you can get so lost. And so it's just like, plays are happening, the mind games are happening, everyone's super athletic out there, like people are spreading these, like Brandie's up there doing laps at the net. It's just people are spreading the game quite a bit. It's fast and it's intense. So and I think you just got to keep up with it. You know, you just got to find ways to stay on it. And I mean, women's serving has always been really, really strong. I feel like it just keeps getting stronger, which is why it's even more impressive that we're still able to run the offense that we're able to run and have the ball control that we're able to have, because we're out there like digging some of these serves sometimes and then just got to run a quick offense. So it's been fun to see and ride the wave of the change. And
Kind of don't have a choice.
no, you don't. You don't.
Like
but I feel like
the older players that still want to play the same game that we played in Tokyo, I don't think would size up
right.
as much.
You're right.
You know,
Yeah.
you have to change. Like we kind of had to learn how to grow and acquire new skills.
Yeah.
To keep up with the younger generation that's already kind of doing this stuff. Yeah.
And what I love to see about it too is I feel like the style of play is very inclusive, where you don't need to be a certain height to play this game. I think you are seeing some of the best players are young or are smaller and they're keeping up. You know what I mean? And they're not even keeping up. They're like setting the tone. And so it's like, you know, I hope that young kids that are watching beach volleyball who are not necessarily over 6 feet still see that there's space for them and they can like play this game, because it's dynamic, it's fast, and you don't have to be just like a big girl, right? It's so I hope that they can see that through us too. I know we're kind of an undersized team.
Yeah.
And
we see in the finals. I mean,
exactly.
What that blows my mind that Barbara and Carol are still doing
Yeah.
what they're doing.
I know.
Like Carol, I couldn't believe
true.
that I was like, now BVB, she's not 36.
Yeah.
She's like 23.
No.
I know.
Like,
But not only
pulling
that, they're
every
playing
play.
like so many tournaments
So
too.
many.
Yeah.
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 It
And
blows
Carol's
my
got a
mind.
kid.
Two.
Two kids.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's
No.
the most shredded person out
She's
there.
shredded.
Puts us all to shame.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know what? I will
Gives me
say
hope.
they're still very true to their style of play.
Yeah.
But they haven't really changed too much. Their style
bit, yeah.
specifically, they've been, nailing and adapting because you have to, because the game is changing, but they're still like the Brazilian style of play. The amount that she pulls and
Yeah.
is just so good as a puller
Yeah.
is so impressive. And yeah, it's fun. Like every team is different. Every team
Yeah,
is
if you look
different.
at the top 5 teams, there's not very many similarities in
Right.
the physical look of the teams, the style they play. Like,
Yeah.
it's completely different.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, just when you think about it, you got Anna, Patricia, and Duda, which is pass high, set high, and
Yeah.
bang
Just
away.
Bang away.
Every now and then, Anna and Patricia will run that little kind of fast
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But then you get Kelly and Sarah, super option heavy.
Yeah.
And then Sarah loves running, like if she digs one short left shot, she's shooting it all the way back
Yeah.
to the right. Then you got Kristen and Taryn, which it still blows my mind what Kristen's able to
Right,
do.
Yeah.
right.
And then
Yeah.
you got you guys and Barbara and Carol. Like you have top 5 teams in the world, 5 completely different
Right.
styles of
Totally.
play.
Yeah.
It's cool. I've never thought about it that way. Like it is super inclusive in that no matter how you play, there's space for it. If you can put the ball in the sand, it doesn't
At the
matter
end
how
of
you
the
get
day.
it there.
Totally.
If you're small or big, for that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tall girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Love your tall
We
girl
love you
still.
too.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Oh, the game evolving. Damn it, I'm losing it.
Oh, it'll come back. It'll come back.
It'll come back.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a
Well,
good point.
Well, he thinks on it. I've just always loved the saying, "What got you here isn't necessarily going to get you there," and I think that speaks to what
Yeah.
you're saying in that what got you to qualifying for Tokyo might not get you on the podium in Paris, but changing when you're at the top is a scary thing to do,
Yeah.
and it takes a lot of humility, I think. And what's the conversation like when you guys go about changing a skill? Because if for example, if Mel's like, "Hey, Brandie, I think you can do this different with your block," or Marcio says that, and you're like, "Well, hold on. I just got the 2023 block."
Yeah.
Yeah,
What do you
right.
mean I need to change?
Right.
It's hard. It takes a lot of
It was-
humility to do that.
Yeah, I feel like all last year I didn't change much until I had my coaches point out like, no, you need to like square up on the ball and ball up more and like make your moves up top. I'm like, but I can make them down low. That's what I do good. And they're like, yeah, but it's not working anymore.
Yeah.
They're going over you. I'm like, yeah, but pretty good footwork.
I
Huh?
got it pretty
Remember.
What, you see that footwork? Oh, okay. And it's actually
so
easier
good.
to make the
Very
change.
good.
Like just
Yeah.
all I have to do is line up on the ball now. It's like way easier. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, no, it's
It's
true.
hard.
No, there is a level of resistance sometimes. It's not always just like, sure. Like, I'm definitely not the type to follow blindly. So,
Yeah, exactly.
you're laughing because
You're not.
I mean,
I'm not,
That's a good thing too.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I try to still be coachable in that scheme, but it's more of a collaborative effort. And I say that because change is much easier when you find value in it. So if I'm being told to change something or suggested or whatever, first of all, these are the people I'm leaning to see something that I haven't seen. I'm not an expert coach. I'm definitely not a defender. I'm not. So I can always learn from everyone. And so if there's an idea, I'm always open to playing with it. And it's a balance of trusting my intuition and trusting what I know and being open to other people's perspectives and ideas and kind of collaborating those two to a point where it makes sense for me. And then there's also like nothing is the same ever. Like not a moment is the same. So why would I continue to do the same thing? I'll just become archaic. So there's just like a hunger for wanting to change it. but I can also spin the wrong way where it's like you're changing, you're always changing, you're growing. But at what point do you really like set a foundation and build an identity on something and really nurture and grow? So it's like juggling for sure. And if there's a need for change, it's probably coming from a place where all the goal is the same, which is to win and to be the best and to reach your potential. And if it's not that, then I probably won't take it.
Gervais was I think he was telling us on the podcast we did with him about creating like a tribe of people who are your advisors and you trust, right? Like, because you don't want to listen to everyone. You're not looking at Twitter and being like, oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
It's like having those people that you trust and then trusting them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But like, you got to be selective.
Yeah. That was a big thing that Mel and I decided to do very consciously when we became a team, was like, who are the people that are going to be in our team, and the ones that aren't working, especially me, I love doing that, is cutting them out. And so it's like,
I'm like, give them another shot. You're like,
no. They're out. They didn't make it. So it's true. You have to have these advisors. That's the only way I can truly be like, this was a team effort. I feel supported. I can trust other people because, you know, like they kind of went through it with you, you know, like where were you when I was shooting? Like they were there from the beginning, and you pick these people and they picked you, and they're just as fired up. And I think we did such a great job with everyone that we've encountered in our team, and even the ones that stayed and went always brought some value. But this core that we have going is getting tighter and tighter as the goal's getting closer, and I think it just has to be that way. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Especially because now, I mean, the whole world's in your pocket.
Yeah.
You open up Instagram and you have 300 comments from people you've never met and never will meet. You look at the comments on YouTube where the game's streamed or whatever, and you got 3,000 coaches all weighing in on like what you guys can do to fix your game, where if you're not careful about that team and what opinions you're taking, you could just take 3,000 different ones, and now it's just such a mess.
I heard one of those earlier today. I was like, let's not listen to this person, whoever this person
Joe
is.
Schmo just decided to say something.
That's not
I think that also takes a level of like being assertive of who you are, and like knowing who you are and being comfortable with like, this is who I am, and these are the opinions that I trust because I know that they serve me. And that goes through trial and error, and that goes through experience as well. You're not going to learn that right away. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some getting lost a little bit until you are a little bit more secure with who you are and what you know that you need. And then at that point, the people that you choose to have around you are your people. And that's, I think, when the beauty comes. I feel like that's when you really kind of come into your own, and like you start manifesting things, but it's not just out of nowhere. It's because you know you can do it. You have the people around you that you can do it with, and then it just comes.
And that's why I love the way that Gervais describes it, where, because when his book came out, a lot of people were asking him, well, don't you care about what other, like if you hurt someone's feeling, don't you care about it? It's like, I care, but I can't worry about it. There's a difference between like, if I put out a podcast, I can't worry about what other people are going to think about it because I can't control that. Like if I can just control that I did the best work I could. And for you guys, like you can't worry about what everyone who's watching on VBTV or in the stands in Montreal is thinking. Like you got Marcio, Fiapo, Gervais, and your partner, and maybe a family member, and that's pretty much it.
Right.
That's all you can afford to have.
Right.
Where it gets so jumbled up there.
Yeah.
It's so true. Yeah.
That list is sometimes just Melissa. So.
Yeah, it really I was going to say, sometimes it's just her. As long as she knows what's going on.
What are you saying? Okay, cool.
Yeah. What do you
That's
think?
it. Yeah.
Well, that's important. Because like at the end of the day, in Paris, the only person in the court is your partner.
Absolutely.
I mean, and I'm actually kind of curious on your opinion on that, because you mentioned how valuable it was to have Fiapo on the road.
Yeah.
But he can't be in the box.
Right.
It's a weird thing.
What do you think? I know what I think, but what do you think?
Well, I mean, first of all, traveling alone without a coach, which we've done a lot, you just don't feel professional. Like you're doing your own warm up. You're having volunteers toss you a ball so you can get the reps in.
Yeah.
So you're going into these games and you're seeing your opponents with 5 coaches, and they're doing the most, and they are so warm going into this game, and we're like struggling,
shagging your own ball,
tossing to each other.
Like, you want me to throw a little
back
spin or side?
So, like a sharper cross.
I'm kind of tired. I don't want to hit at you, Brandie. I gotta save these jumps.
Yeah. Do you want me to block you before you go play this game?
I feel real good about myself now. Yeah.
Just hit at me standing.
Yeah.
That's totally simulating a real block.
That is the truth.
And then it's so sad sometimes you see other opponents, their coaches will be like, do you want us to serve it? They feel bad for you. They pity you. You want a little free ball here? We're like, fuck off. Sorry.
Mean Mel.
Mean Mel.
Mean Mel thing!
Mean Melon.
No,
Mean
so
Mug
Hashtag Mean Mel.
Mel. Mean Mug Mel.
for sure. So there's an element of just like entering a game feeling good, feeling professional, feeling like you've got your stuff together and, that's good. So once that's taken care of, it's also so much mental energy to do your own warm up. So to not have to worry about that, to have someone there with the game plan, to have someone there help you debrief, to help with the scheduling, it just takes stuff off of your mind. So it's a huge difference. And then even though he's not on the stand with us, you can hear his little voice. Next one, or like next ball, where it's like, okay, it's so nice. But you have each other. That's all. That's what matters in the moment. But it is great to have people when you're off the court to help manage things so that you don't have to do it. It takes extra energy for you to do it.
And it's probably nice to have a neutral third party in a debrief.
Oh, totally.
After a pool play loss or whatever, just to have, because if you guys were like sniping at each other, if you could be like, she's right about this, and we're fine.
Yeah,
totally. Yeah.
Would you want them actually coaching though?
Is that what you were asking?
Yes.
Oh,
I actually don't know how you feel about that.
We have that. We've had that in the AVP before, and we don't do well with that.
Well, because I don't like that, but
we don't do well with that.
But Marcio, eventually coaches are like,
they're quiet.
That's
great.
Funny.
Don't say anything.
Yeah.
Just be a body of energy.
Yeah.
Good energy.
I will say I love
actually say
That's
anything.
My kind of coach.
I like that.
Jose was the best of that.
Jose did do that. I got to be coached by him in AVPs.
Let's go, bro. Let's go. You won't be a beast out there.
Yes.
Like,
Man. Yeah.
Like, what did he tell you? Nothing. At all. Just, I don't know, but I'm fired up.
But I'm ready.
He's fired up. He's throwing water all over me, and like
that's hilarious.
Jose was fun
sometimes you just need it's just the energy.
I will say I love that about beach volleyball, where it requires the athlete to do the thinking and do the coaching for you, and not everyone can do that. And so that's why I feel like I do like that kind of special element in the sport, and I don't really want it to go away because I think it does require so much critical thinking and just adaptability and flexibility and learning on the go, and that's such a special skill, and that's so unique to this sport. I don't think there are very many other sports that don't have their coaches in game helping them out. It's a lot of work, obviously, but I think that makes the game even more enticing.
That was one of my favorite parts as a player, is just like figuring out the chess match as it goes and just give the cut, give the cut, give the cut. Now we're going to take the cut. And then you get the 15-13, now it's a 16-13. And I'm like, yes, we did the perfect time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's so satisfying.
Such a good feeling.
When you can just wait and wait. And now we do it.
Totally.
Even strategy-wise, you can not, just because it's in our sport, not everybody can do it. So I also find that you can kind of bank on certain players not being able to figure things out, or it's part of scouting. It's part of the game where it's like, that's a skill that didn't show up. Like maybe you don't have a hard cross. Maybe you're not good at making adjustments. Like it should be incorporated in the things that you're scouting. And that's super interesting to me.
It's almost like, reminds me of hand setting, right? Like, now we want to take out the skill of hand setting, right? It's like versus the skill of figuring things out and strategizing on your own.
Yes.
I remember playing indoor in the national championship. My sophomore year was us versus Irvine. And at the end of the game, I remember us talking. We're like, I feel like Sprague just beat us, because we just felt we were better than the other team.
Yeah.
But in the fifth set, came down to it, and like they made adjustments, like clear adjustments that were based on everything that had been working for us, and then just like shut us down the last few points.
Yeah.
We're like, freaking Sprague. But like in my mind, it was like, you guys didn't beat us. Your coach did.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's like
Yeah.
what it reminded
Yeah.
me of.
Totally.
Yeah, exactly. So how much more respectable when it's like the player who can do it in real time? Like that's insane. That's
Also,
such
we
a
are
cool story.
entertainers, right? We're professional
Yeah.
level, and like
Yeah.
how much entertainment's coming from the coach
Yeah.
babying the athletes through like even
Totally.
like let's think of basketball or whatever. It's like Coach Pop standing there and like. Or Belichick, right? Like he gets all this credit for being like this mastermind, which he is. Mm-hmm. But like he's never really brought any entertainment to the table, right?
We want the drama.
That's hit and miss with some, because then you get like a Sean McVay, at the 49ers, and he brings a lot, or a Bobby Knight.
Sean McVay.
You wanted to watch Indiana games sometimes just to see if
McVay
Bobby Knight's
Rams?
throwing chairs.
Right.
Right.
There are some
Unless
coaches
they're
that get
on the
crazy.
road.
God,
Even
that's
on
hilarious.
tour, there are
On
some
tour,
coaches
there's
that get
those-
crazy.
Yeah.
You can
I know
hear
a
'em.
few. Yeah.
I like the idea of coaching, bringing more jobs to the sport.
I appreciate it.
By creating new positions and whatnot. Obviously,
Yeah.
like players got to get paid enough to like bring that
For sure.
coaching amount up.
I
But-
think that's been really hard for us, even in our journey of finding the right coach, is keeping a coach.
Oh my
It's
gosh,
not
yeah.
it's not a like completely sustainable coach financially or job financially
No,
for
for
coaches,
sure.
and so that affects the players too,
Yeah.
because it's like this is only how much we can give.
Yeah.
But we need you, and
Yeah.
and so it's like hard to find that balance, especially
Yeah.
as a coach and a player.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely an area that needs to improve in our game, and we need more support there for sure.
Oh my gosh.
to
I
be able
think
to grow
being a
that.
beach volleyball coach is the craziest thing someone can do.
It's a.
She gives you this side.
Why
It
would you do
is
that?
so incredible. Like it's like the amount of just commitment to the game is beyond
much.
any
You're
player.
giving so much.
Is definitely beyond any player has, like undisputed. So
Yeah, here's the
it's
coaches.
so much moment of silence, drink. I don't know what we got to do, but definitely some love to all beach coaches.
Yeah.
That is just the craziest job. And
Yeah.
Yeah, we love you.
yeah, even if you're being paid a ton, it's different.
Travis
It's
is.
different. Obviously.
Raking it in.
Even if you're getting the big bucks like this guy, it's still incredible. No, definitely love to all the coaches for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I was telling you earlier, I thought when I pretty much stopped playing, at least for the first half of the year, to get them through the Olympic period, I was like, well, maybe I'll kind of insulate myself against like the sting of losing. And then they lose in Doha, and I'm like, I was depressed for 3 days.
Sting is there.
You're so
It's
invested.
like, D, this hurts.
Yeah.
I was like, we're at dinner, and I'm doing like the 1,000-yard stare, like straight through the walls. And she's like, are you okay? And I'm like, I keep thinking about this that we didn't do. She's like, well, you
Yeah.
didn't hit it out. Like, but it feels like it.
Is it
Yeah.
bad that makes me feel it decompresses my heart a little? Like,
We're just
someone's
layering
sharing
the
it with me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a
Feels
team
good. Thanks,
effort.
Trev.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine just like sitting real time and watching it like
the worst.
from meters away and just
Well,
like
and trying to
Imagine
call it.
commentating.
He's trying to
I was
call
gonna
it.
say at the
Wow.
same time. Are you crazy?
that's right.
And you
That
had to.
was-
You were so. I was watching that game. You were so composed because I could tell that you were
No,
so
not me.
invested.
That's why you're like, ah!
yeah, that's me. But you obviously have investments there, and you were
Yeah.
calling the game,
Yep.
and it's a huge
That's
game.
right.
It's close, and you're just cool as a cucumber. I was like, okay, Travis, I see you. Good job. You should get a raise.
because Gabby was texting me throughout. She's like, "You're doing such a good job." And I was like, "Good," because my heartbeat is somewhere in this area. I could like feel it in my neck. I like wish I still had the whoop because it would have been like,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
yeah. No, you did great.
Also,
Yeah.
can you stop texting me while I'm trying to
Comment.
coach and commentate at the same time?
yeah. So that was the litmus test. And I was like, I hope I don't have to do that again.
Wow.
Yeah, it takes so much
That
out
was
of you.
hard.
Good
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
I hope
Yeah.
you do, because you're calling all
Yeah,
these elites.
calling all the elites.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially all the medal rounds. I'd be like, the boys are back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just be biased.
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah, I knew. I felt like I had to acknowledge it at the beginning. I
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, listen, I'm a coach and a commentator. I don't know how this is going to go either. We're about to find out together.
Yeah.
Let's enjoy the ride together.
We've been practicing
The
on.
coachmentator.
Coach
That almost sounds like a real word.
That's the new line on the resume this year.
Coach-mentator.
Yeah. Well, Mo, you've mentioned it a couple times, like sort of the big picture. Like, who am I trying to be on the court, off the court? What's the big picture looking like? Because as you mentioned, like you guys, as odd as it sounds, kind of vets on the tour now? Like, what's the big picture looking like for Mel and Brandie?
I mean, the current big picture is 6 months away, or I guess 4 months away. So it doesn't
I've been saying
feel,
6 months for 2 months. Yeah.
So it doesn't feel that big anymore because it's like right here.
Yeah.
But I think we're kind of really sticking to what we decided and talked about when we first got together, was about this journey and about how we want to approach the journey and what kind of like energy we want to give off and what kind of like narrative we want to tell in our stories and in our journey to Paris. And it goes beyond results. And I think that is something that we discuss with our coaches as well, and how we want to feel when we leave Paris or heading into Paris, and what that means and what that looks like. And for us, that looks like every day, like every moment that we have together, every chance we have to be on the court, to find just like that gratitude for what we get to do together. Like, how lucky are we to be able to do this, and putting the work in and day out in Hermosa Beach. That's where it happens. It's like right there, a few blocks from here. That's where the stuff happens. And then when you get to Paris, that's when it culminates. But all the work and all the fun and all the joy and all the hardships happen before that. And I think that's kind of our big picture. And that's how we are approaching Paris, is by the time we get there, we're going to be at peace, because we've done all the hard stuff before, and we have all the memories, and we have all the stories we want to tell. And Paris is just kind of like one page of the book. It's not like the whole book. And so, I think that's how I think we want to leave our journey. And I mean, we haven't really thought about after Paris at the moment. Like, for the rest of the year, there is another season after, or like there are competitions after Paris that we will be playing in, but we haven't really thought about them too much. We're definitely gonna have a break after. Yeah, we're gonna take some time for a little vacation after, go somewhere nice. But I think it's just about not wishing away any kind of experience, and just relishing in the highs and the lows, and who we are becoming throughout this journey, and what we want to show, and how proud we are to represent us and our country and our team, and everything that comes with that.
Did Tokyo sort of alter, I don't know, but maybe alter your perspective? Because a lot of people, I remember talking to Phil about it when they won gold in Beijing, and you return and you're like, that's it? That's what I put all this work in for? And talking to Sponsel, she said like one of the loneliest moments she's ever felt was flying back from Tokyo. She's like, I put in all this work for 20 some years to become an Olympian, and then in a blink it's over. Did that help sort of alter that perspective? Because you mentioned that on the court it's just such a small picture of the grand scheme of things. Did that change sort of how you're approaching this Olympic cycle?
For me, yeah. For me, it did. I think after the Olympics, there is that period of, the Olympic blues, and kind of reevaluating things, and like, wow, that was 4 years of work in 10 days or something. And it doesn't go your way. And even if it does go your way, you still feel different. You still feel changed, and you still start asking questions. And so I think I wanted to approach Paris very differently. And I wanted this journey to mean something more than, just being an Olympian. I think there's so much more to us, all of us, than just what we do on the court. And I think even what we do on the court can be a representation of so much more. And so, Tokyo did kind of tell me what I want to do differently for Paris and beyond.
Love that.
Yeah.
Well, in terms of the sport having good representatives of women carrying themselves awesome, I think you guys are great representatives of the sport. Just watching you guys play is fun. Like, I always use the word that I always come back to when I'm commentating you guys, like, your joy is infectious. Like, I'm just in a better mood when I'm commentating.
Oh my
gosh,
I love that.
That's so awesome.
That's what we hope.
Yeah, you're smiling like straight through the screen. I'm like, thanks, Mel. I needed that.
We're gonna give you a wave in the middle of the game.
Yeah, this is for you, Travis.
Less smiles this year, though.
Yeah,
that's true.
Sorry.
That's
New
gonna
Mel.
be
Sorry about
Brandie.
that.
Between the points.
Yeah.
Well, guys, it's always great to have you guys in here. Where can people follow along your journey?
Find me on Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram's probably the best way.
Yeah.
That's just your names?
It is the super long name.
Not, it's one of my names, but it's B Vuillemeier, which is Vuilleumer.
Yeah.
In case you didn't know I was from Switzerland, that's a little indication there.
Is that?
I never knew what that actually
Yeah,
meant.
yeah. You know what? You know
Just
what?
type your name in. So
Yeah.
it'll come up.
Yeah. Type my name in, Brandie, with an IE. There's not too many, so.
Tell them what it is.
Oh, Vuillemeier, yeah, that's my family heritage in Switzerland. So I was born with that last name, actually, and then I got changed to Wilkerson a little bit after. But
It's your mom's maiden name, right?
it's my mom's, it's my grandfather's, it's my mom's maiden name. There's a really long lineage of Vuillemeier family in this small town in Trailblazers in Switzerland. So I'm like technically the last one. So it was kind of an homage to that. That's what I have tattooed in my arm. And and when I made Instagram, it wasn't what it was. So I was like, let me put my like hipster last name on here. And then I never changed it. So,
So funny.
kept
Well, I
it.
just learned something.
I was like, I don't know that word. I'm just going to
Brandie. Yeah.
Just type in her name.
Yes.
So next up for you guys is, so you guys got what? Tepic, and then Brasilia. What's that? Espino.
Espino, Ostrava.
And then maybe Stade Vienna, depending on how you want to do the schedule before
That's
the Olympics.
right. Yeah. Yeah. So
Is
a few
that-
more tournaments.
Is that going to be a decision, like to play those two?
It
I
is
wonder
gonna
what
be a
teams are going to
decision.
do.
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah. We're probably not going to play both.
Okay.
We'll pick one or the other.
Yeah.
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 They're both
Sweet.
great spots.
I know they are great spots.
Sick
So happy to
spots.
see Vienna back on the
Yeah.
calendar.
Yeah.
Tough time of the year.
Yeah.
But so happy that they're back.
Supporting you from afar.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, with the schedules and stuff, I feel like on an Olympic year, it needs to be taken into
Nothing's
consideration.
personal. Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing is personal if we're not there. Yeah.
Thanks again, guys. Good
Thank
luck.
you.
And I'm sure I'll see you on the road at some point.
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys are
No
awesome.
more
Thanks,
car
guys.
accidents.
Appreciate it.
We're done with that.
Yeah, we're done with
the car
that.
accident.
The drama,
Yeah.
it's over.
We're over. Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.